and today, guess what we're going to talk on? Today, we're going to discuss the most searched question on Google ever, and the question being, how can you speak like a native? Because when you don't speak like a native, you generally get judged. So today, in this video, I'm going to tell you some really amazing and cool tricks through which you're going to speak like a native. Because these are the tricks which native speakers themselves use in order to sound the way they sound, or in order to speak the way they speak. So all you're going to do is to watch this video till the end. Before we start the discussion, let me tell you something really important about the accent. The first being that it helps you to connect to the people where this particular language is being spoken. The second being that basically, as we all know, there are multiple languages being spoken on this planet Earth, and every language has its own accent, which helps you beautify it. So if you do want to beautify your language, the language you're speaking it, then obviously you're going to learn about the accent. Like if you talk about Hindi, the most peaceful language. If you talk about English, the most musical language. And if you talk about Punjabi, the most exciting language. Right? So with that, let's start the video.
The biggest pronunciation mistake which most of the people make is that they forget to smooth the pronunciation and rather focus on highlighting every single letter they are speaking, which later on spoils their proficiency of speaking and hence making them sound a non-native speaker. Just to say, people would pronounce TH sound word as tha instead of tha. For example, it's never thank you, rather it's thank you. It's never thanks, it's thanks. It's never something, it is something. Like the way it is never thing, it is thing. Now you would have a question how to do that. That's pretty simple. Always before pronunciating TH sound word, always try to touch the edges of your upper jaw with your tongue rather than just amalgamating them. Now here is the second mistake which most of the people make, and the mistake being the pronunciation of land. Generally, people used to speak England as England, which is not the right version. It is always England, never England. Same way, it's never New Zealand. It's basically New Zealand, because New Zealand kind of thing doesn't really exist. It's basically New Zealand. The very first we have, when it rains, it pours, use, is generally used when you're waiting for something to happen and it happens in abundance. For example, you're waiting for a bus, but suddenly 45 buses arrived at a time. Some other examples. First he had a massive accident and then he lost his job. Really, when it rains, it pours. The next example we have, I didn't even expect a hi from her after having a terrible fight. But she texted me a whole paragraph. It seems when it rains, it pours. Next up we have, when in Rome, do as the Romans. Use, adapt your behavior as per the situation. The cool fact about this proverb is that this proverb is the most hypocrite one. For example, I've tried when in Rome, do as the Romans, but really doesn't suit my personality. The next example we have, you'll have to speak with American in English, because when in Rome, do as the Romans. You're in their land and have to learn to live with it. Next up we have, too many cooks spoil the broth. Use, when you need 2 people to finish a work, but you hire 10 people for it and end up with nothing completed. For example, I would love to have joined, but you have too many people on the board already, and too many cooks spoil the broth. Next up we have, be a good catch. Use, be someone worth having. Well, let me tell you something really amazing about this, and the thing being that this proverb is my favorite. For example, stop letting people dump you. Just be a good catch. The next proverb which we have is, add fuel to the fire. Use, when someone makes bad situation worse. The special part about this proverb is that it can replace the whole sentence. For example, stop scolding him, he has already had enough of it. Or you can simply replace the whole sentence by saying, stop adding fuel to the fire, We generally don't use slangs while speaking, and instead we focus on separating every single word to get clarity, and hence sound non-native or maybe pretty naive. There's one even more bad consequence of it, that being that we don't get to understand native speakers when they use such slangs. Now let me tell you what are slangs before getting into the discussion. Slangs are nothing but the amalgamated form of two different words to shorten up the big sentences. For example, wanna for want to, gonna for going to, lemme for let me, have to for have to.
So, hope you liked the video. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel and do press the bell icon so that for the next time when I upload such videos, it notifies you as soon as you see it. Thank you and have a good day.